A bold statement here for the all-new Mazda CX-60, and not only in the design for this all-new SUV, but also technology-wise. Whereas even a Mercedes C63 AMG goes 4-cylinder, downsizing, here an all-new platform, rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, first ever plug-in hybrid model for Mazda, most powerful Mazda ever, 6-cylinder petrol engine, 6-cylinder diesel engine, and here with this vehicle also an up-market approach. They want to be more premium. Will this one here start Mazda as a brand now like a Japanese BMW? We'll find out here with Thomas and Autogefühl. Here, the all-new CX-60 will be released in Europe and Asia the way it is, and in the US market, the CX-70, which is a little bit wider, but somewhat similar. Here, the headlamps, you see here, modern signature, and kind of like a cut in here. LED is also standard. Then this front grille, vertical fins, really large. Sensors are hidden behind this 2D Mazda logo. And towards the side, this one here is the top trim level, by the way. See here, long front hood, because the engine is mounted in a longitudinal way for this new 6 cylinders. Then we have the painted wheel arches in this trim level, 18 or 20-inch wheels. These are the biggest 20-inch wheels. And then the overall length is 4 meters 75 or 187 inches. What does it mean? Well, it looks kind of like CX-5 alike, so not, most extravagant, but it's actually 17 centimeters or 7 inches longer than the CX-5. And all of this goes into the wheelbase. So we'll have a big effect probably on the rear legroom, soon finding out more about that. Towards the rear, we see this, sporty shape right there, also this hip forming. And interesting also that we have negative areas in design here. This is a prototype model, and in the final one, it will be cut even more inside to have a negative surface here. And we have this interesting monitor right here with these two lines. They are straight. But depending on the light, inside the paint, you form kind of like this S form from the light, so a very interesting design trick. Technology-wise on the rear axle, this is also very interesting. They have something like an anti-tilt control inbuilt now. So how does it work? Electronically, a little bit of braking is being applied when you are into a corner. And by the mechanical design of the rear axle, the braking leads actually to the wheel going a little bit in, and that means that the inside wheel in the corner will be moved a little bit in, and that's why the car keeps more upright and doesn't lean to the outside of the corner. Other manufacturers work with active system, like let you push hydraulically from the other side. This one here, a mechanical one, very interesting. And towards the rear, LED lamps begin already at the side, modern signature, and stretched really here in the width overall. This one here, the all-wheel drive model, because we have the plug-in hybrid, soon more specs to that. Well, a very modern design in the rear, but wait a minute, what's this? Here, a case for the Autogefühl fake exhaust police. This is the fake exhaust in its purest form. Yeah, so there's nothing behind it. You can just touch in there and you won't hurt yourself. The real exhaust is underneath. Yeah, it's such a great and clean design here. This maybe wouldn't have been necessary. Well, obviously they didn't think about big German hands with these door handles. So yeah, are my hands that clumsy? Well, I can still open them. I just have to be like, more gentle with it. But I won't be gentle with the door closing sound. That sounds actually quite decent. Then, inside of the doors, top part is somewhat soft touch, not too soft though, but it looks good and has a nice structure and feel. This is real wood, very nice in this upmarket trim. And here we have a bright fabric, that's also pretty cool. And also here, these surfaces are kind of like treated with metal sprays, so they are not entirely metal, but have the metal finish, so to speak. Also from the button and so on, that looks like a good build quality. And what's really interesting here, it seems to be that the door sill here, the rubber pad would be missing when you open that one here. But actually here, this sill, the rubber pad is on the chassis side, that this area here is staying clean. They've put it in the lower end and not at the inside of the doors. It's also interesting. Well, and then this all new interior, we can see this scenery really looks different. Also here, and with this new structure, it really looks kind of premium, also with the nice bright contrast stitches on the inside. Soon more about these screens. Here, top part, this is even softer touch, and this is also nice that they have the fabric detail elements right here. As for the seats, base versions will start with black fabric seats. This is your way to go animal-free. However, and this is kind of like last century, here the upmarket trims, animals can only, they say they would be working on some alternatives, but that's of course nothing that would be looking forward to a more sustainable future. But the styling actually is very interesting. The bright styling here, there will also be darker ones available. We can control the seats here electric way. However, there will be a new function available that automatically sets the position to your needs. We know this from Mercedes already. Then you enter your height in the infotainment system, and then the car adjusts the steering wheel and the seats and so on. This will be available as an option. The same thing will be available here. To my experience from the Mercedes system was that it never really fit my position, especially they were putting the steering wheel always too high. We'll see at a later stage how it works with Mazda. Here you can see electric control with the steering wheel. Not sure, have I seen it in a Mazda yet? I don't think so. But that's actually, making a good impression. The steering wheel is also rather slim and very sporty. From the steering wheel function, this is then, maybe not the Japanese BMW, but the Japanese Audi. from the steering wheel feeling we have then here. When I put the seat all the way down, 1m86 or 6'1" my size, here, some headroom left. So far, a quite comfortable position. They also paid attention to the seat ergonomics, that they consider the natural S-form of your spine. So it's really interesting that they paid attention to all these details. Does it feel different than the CX-5? Definitely more upmarket. So when you take a first look at here, and also especially this fabric cover at the dashboard, 2x 12.3-inch horizontal screens, this looks really impressive. Interior overview from this perspective, really, wow. This looks absolutely stunning. And also when you feel here the real wood, and this from maple tree, by the way, here, look at that, and the fabric again, and the real buttons we still have here. Yay, real buttons at the steering wheel for volume on the left, or for example here for the cruise control on the right, and they even have some clicking sound. Like that, no hashtag capacitive BS here whatsoever. Great job, Mazda. Digital instruments, clear to read, digital speed. You can't do too much with it actually, but 12.3-inch does the job. Head-up display will be available as an option. Here as an option, but in the Mazda 3 it's standard. Come on. Quick look at the infotainment system, 12.3-inch, quite far away, so you cannot really reach it for touching something. And the reason for that is, it is not meant to be a touchscreen. Here, by the way, this is kind of like a screensaver mode from this traditional Japanese clock. Well, I'm just kidding. So let's go into the menu. This is kept really simple, that you control it from below with this MMI controller, hashtag Audi. I cannot show you too much because the GPS is not fitted to this prototype yet, and Apple CarPlay is also not working yet. Both CarPlay and Android Auto are working, also in a wireless way. And then it actually said, when you have CarPlay or Android Auto, then you can use it as touch, but only when stationary. And here the Mazda menu is not able to use touch at all. What do you think about this decision? Yes, manual climate unit. The only thing is you cannot touch it from below. So that, usually you can push it from below or from above. Here they decided just to go from above. I think you get used to that. And also the haptic feedback you get. And the sound feedback is nice. Here is separate also for the buttons here. So I think it's a great job actually. And you see, it looks clean. At the same time, you have all the important function on a separate button still. So really kudos to that. So I really love that middle console. This is the automatic shifting lever. Then you have a camera button, hill descent control actually. You have a drive mode selector. And once again, this bright wood, you can open this, and then you have cup holders, which are also adaptive. Still also here, there's volume control, and this might be, you're putting your great music on full volume, and then your spouse is next to you and like, come on, Thomas, that's too loud. And then, you know all about what I'm talking about, guys, So, and here, this is this MMI knob. So also resonates quite well. You can press it down then. This is a home menu button. So everything actually easy to control, although a touchscreen would have been nice still if you have that option. So, but it works then with the CarPlay properly in stationary mode at least. So, and then here, pretty flat, but actually very wide, and then USB-C chargers, and we can expect that in the CX-70 version, maybe this one will be even wider, but this is also one of the main differences, CX-5 to CX-60 here. The width of the middle console and the space you have between the shoulder area, this is just, more vast in this vehicle here then. Panoramic roof, here I close the cover, so when it's hot and beautiful bright ceiling, then you can see you can remove this cover then electronically, and then you can open that whole thing. Yeah, now it begins parallel, it's interesting, there we go, and then we can leave some more light in. By the way, when we think about driving this vehicle very soon, stay subscribed here on our channel or subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't done so far. We've seen in the engine bay that they move the engine, really far towards the cabin. That is good for the weight balance and also for sportier steering. That is actually with the main weight behind the front axle. Here the plug-in hybrid version will also have the battery really centralized and low in the vehicle to keep the center of gravity low. Then we have this anti-tilt control. We have the rather direct input from the steering wheel. This is also all of the things why I said, when they go premium, it's not like a Japanese Mercedes, more like a Japanese BMW or maybe Japanese Audi. But we'll find out more about that. I think it's a very interesting thought. I would like to know your thoughts about that. Do you think this is already a premium vehicle now? Tell me in the comments, and soon then driving this one here. Well, we are not finished quite yet. As for the rear doors, you see what they took over from the CX-5 is that the rear doors almost open 90 degrees. Of course, very helpful to get in and out for installing child seats, for example. Then the rear part here inside has the same structure than in the front door. So it's, let's say, a little soft. Then the nice bright fabric in this trim here, as well as the same wood decor elements. So a good build quality also for the rear area. And we can see, well, the main difference was the wheelbase, CX-5 to this one, and this is what you also feel here. It's not that you would have abundance of space here, but definitely way more than in the CX-5. This is the seat as I would be driving, and when I'm driving, I usually have the steering wheel also quite far out. That's why the seat is also quite way back. So it works for 5 tall adults, just gets close with knees when there's also a tall driver. Here, headroom-wise, no problem, although this is the panoramic roof version. Here we go. You would have more when you don't go for the panoramic roof. Although it is rear-wheel driven or an all-wheel drive, you actually don't have a big middle tunnel, so that's actually quite okay. You have 2 USB-C chargers there, a real power socket if you like, and also seat heating is available. And it's, by the way, quite interesting here for the plug-in hybrid model. When you are in the electric drive, you also have the permanent all-wheel drive because the electric motor is actually in front of the transmission and not like then just rear-wheel drive or something. So this one here will always be permanent all-wheel drive. Electric hatch for the trunk or the boot, 570 liters up to 1,730. That's about 50 liters more at least than the CX-5. The length here you can see is about 93 centimeters or 36 inches. What's cooler and way more usable here than in the CX-5, here this is kind of like square dimensions and the width is really substantial. This is like 1 meter or 40 inches and we still have more space. So this is more like, like 1 meters 10 or 43 inches. So that's, did I just say it correctly? Yes. That's actually quite cool. So very well usable. Then underneath here, some more space. This is also sound equipment because it has the optional Bose sound system. For music lovers, that's of course the way to go. Oh, wait a minute, there's even an additional socket in here. Look at that, even more power. So that's actually quite cool for leisure equipment or something. And now the maximum setup, you can here just individually fold the middle part, ski hatch. And then to the seats here in front, we have about 1 meter 75 or 68 inches. And towing capacity, we already know for the plug-in hybrid model, 2.5 tons, might then be a little bit different for the pure combustion engines. This one is the plug-in hybrid model. By the way, we're in the studio. This is clamped on here for the battery, and this cooler will not be there, of course, just for the studio. And there's also no engine cover for today in this prototype model, but that enables us to see how much space do we have here. And you can see here, this is the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, longitudinal mount here as well. And you can see this space is left And then we can fit 2 more cylinders in there, the 6-cylinder petrol or the diesel, 3-liter 6-cylinder petrol, or then the 3.3-liter 6-cylinder diesel engine. The petrol one will be the Skyactiv X, so this petrol-diesel mixing technology acting like a turbo. Very interesting, and rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive depending on the market offer. Here the plug-in hybrid, all-wheel drive. This one also very powerful, 330 horsepower system output and 5.8 seconds in the acceleration figure. That means, although this one is based on the 2.5-liter naturally aspirated one, it will be quicker than the 2.5-liter turbo that is available in the US, for example, in the CX-5. For the plug-in hybrid, battery capacity is 18 kilowatt hours gross. Net, not sure yet with the figures, but the electric range on a realistic figure, more like 40, 50 kilometers, 25, 30 miles or something like this. And recharging 7.2 kilowatt AC. Wait a minute, what's that? It looks like that at some point you could also fit DC charging there. What did we find out there? Because this platform here is actually able also to house full electric versions. But you know, the petrol and the diesel engine so far, they are at least mild hybrid. That's also the reason why they can go with a bigger size again, still, you know, fulfill all the regulations and so on, because the mild hybrid system then gives a better economy, even if you don't have the plug-in hybrid. And top speed, 200 kilometers an hour or 125 miles an hour. Pure electric speed, probably something around 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour. But what's very interesting, no matter if you go plug-in hybrid, petrol or diesel, all will be fitted with a new 8-speed automatic gearbox. So the old 6-speed automatic that Mazda had and was like not very economic and didn't feel so good in driving, this one will be replaced and supposed to be more efficient and also sporty in the driving. Yeah, that maybe pushes it even further to this Japanese BMW. We'll see very soon. And as for pricing, it will start around 50,000 euros here as the plug-in hybrid, but then there's already a lot of equipment on the inside. So it basically starts with the pricing where the CX-5 ends. And then of course already you get more car for that. So the pricing will not be that much in that premium area as when you, for example, compare Audi, BMW, Mercedes or something, but more towards this area, so to speak. What else is there to come? Well, as I said, CX-70 for the US, a little bit wider. And then this one will also come as a longer version, as CX-80 with a third seating row actually. And this one will be then the CX-90 with a little bit, you know, wider dimensions in the US again. So definitely a SUV offensive coming from Mazda. Would like to know what you think about this so far. Premium approach-wise, I think especially on the interior, it works actually already quite well. We've seen a good build quality already here from this prototype. Looking forward how this is continuing onto the journey and also when we drive this one with this all-new architecture. We recently also did the CX-5 in the facelift, if you're also interested in this one. And of course, if you want to go a little bit smaller, for example, the CX-30, see these videos.